Well, Premier League champions Leicester City have dropped further into relegation trouble. They were beaten 2-0 by Swansea City and now just a point above the drop zone. Leicester still haven't scored a league goal this year, and they've become the first reigning champions since 1956 to lose 5 straight games. Huge result for Chelsea, though. The win for Swansea, even the win moves them 4 points clear of the relegation places, and they've won 3 of their 5 league games now since Paul Clement took over as manager last month. This is how precarious it's become for Leicester. The bottom 3 teams will be relegated out of the Premier League, and the champions have got just 13 games now to turn their season around. They are still in the European Champions League. They play Sevilla in the last 16 next week. Well, after the Swansea game, Ranieri said he'd been too loyal to the players who were successful last season and would now be making changes. Voted last season's Players' Player of the Year. This season, Algerian striker Riyad Mahrez has managed just 3 goals. Remember, it was only in May of last year that Leicester was celebrating the first league title in their history, a season that had begun with them being strongly tipped for relegation.
It's difficult to say it's mental, because when I speak with them, everybody are combined, everybody want to react, everybody try to tell something positive, not to help each other. But after, we go back. But we must, I believe in my team. We must continue to fight, and sooner or later we go out from this deep position.
Roberto Forzoni is a sports psychologist who's worked with individual footballers, coaches and teams. He's also the man behind the MYND app, spelled MYND, which is designed to assist any individual. Roberto, great to have you talking with us. You've spoken about maximising potential with the resources you have, something obviously Leicester did last year. Can a changed mental approach have a big impact on performance?
Absolutely it can, yes. I think for any successful team, having that right mental approach, that right mindset is a crucial element in any success. And we saw that last year with Leicester, overachieving, everyone's surprise package.
Now, they lost a key player at the end of the season in N'Golo Kante to Chelsea. Beyond his footballing ability, what sort of psychological impact can the departure of a big player have on those who are left behind?
It can have a negative impact, but it can also have a positive impact. Depends on the players they bring back in. Their recruitment probably wasn't as good as it might have been. And it's really a predictable problem that they find themselves in. This isn't unusual. Teams before have won the league, surprise teams like Ipswich in the 60s, Notts Forest in the 70s, even Blackburn in the 90s, won the league and then thereafter just failed to capitalise on that success. And it's quite a difficult one, replacing players, having that structure for performance within the club takes some serious planning.
And Roberto, at this stage now, what can Claudio Ranieri say to try and turn his season around? Is it that easy to talk the players around to trying to repeat what they did last season?
No, absolutely, and no one expects them to repeat what they did last season, but no one probably expected them to be in the position they are now. Obviously, with the Champions League adding some challenges for their season, not only did they need to invest just to try and replicate some success, and success for them this year probably would have been a top 10 finish. So what he needs to do now is as well as looking at long-term objectives, he needs some short-term wins. So he's got to work on those players' confidence immediately. And there's lots of things he can do to work on those confidence issues. And changing some of the personnel may be one of his answers.
And Roberto, just finally, Alex Ferguson always talked about the most difficult thing in football being maintaining success. So are clubs under-resourced when it comes to trying to do that? Because it seems to be a perennial problem that clubs do well one season and then don't seem to be prepared for what's coming the season after.
Well, you had that with Chelsea 2 seasons ago. They won the league and then last year really underperformed and come 10th. So if a team like Chelsea find it difficult to do, that shows you the importance of having a real good long-term structure in place. I spoke to a good friend of mine before coming on air, Barry Simmons, who's a director of football in the game, a real good thinker. And I said, what's your view on it? And he said to me, it's quite easy. If they didn't have a plan for success, How are they going to have a plan to repeat that success this year? And that's one of the issues. So Ranieri really needs to get some wins, some small wins now, and get players like Vardy and Mahrez striking some form again.
Let's see how he goes. Roberto Forzoni, their sports psychologist and the man behind the MYND app. Thanks so much for spending some time on Al Jazeera with us.